Hey guys, Morgan's Maintenance. Today's tool review is going to be a new tool from Klein. This one is the 5-in-1 NM cable multi-tool. So if you run NM cable any in your line of work, this might be something that would be interesting to you. Part number on this is L1412. I came to know about this one. I was just kind of scrolling around Amazon watching videos one day, and the channel Electrician Tool Deals, he had a video for this and a demo as well, so I watched it and I thought, you know, I kind of been looking for something like that just to try out. I've really been wanting the Knipex Ergo Strip. I think it runs you like $50, so this being 15 is a whole lot cheaper than that. It's not the same tool by far, but the Knipex Ergo Strip also isn't really intended for our NM cables over here in the US. It's more intended for that round cable overseas. So I've never bought it because I wasn't real sure how it was going to work, and it's also metric, you know, and all those kinds of things. I know Ideal has like an Ideal Ripper that is something like this, I think, but this is probably pretty similar to that more so than anything. So the 5-in-1 part of it is that it does slit and trim, also strips, does loops, does twists. You can see it's magnetic right there. I'll show you what that means. It is made in Vietnam. You can see on the back of the package, and then I'll just put this up here in case you want to pause and read any of that information if you want to. But again, I've already had it out, been playing with it some. I just keep the packaging so that you guys can kind of see what it looks like in the package. But as far as the tool itself, it's 4 inches in length this way. One of those features I showed you a minute ago was that it was magnetic. That's this small magnet right here, which is probably kind of a really nice feature, because then you could kind of throw this on the side of your toolbox if you want to, or if you carry a pouch like mine that has some sort of metal, or you could put you some metal on it. You don't want to take up a spot in your pouch while you're walking around. You could kind of slap it on and off the outside of your pouch like that, because it's not really going to fit down in any of the pouch slots all that well anyway. So I think that magnet is kind of a little bit of a nice feature. Here you can see the part number on it, L1412. Again, there's the magnet. Here is the stripping. It says that it strips 14 and 16 stranded, and then also 12 and 14 solid gauge. So again, it's made more for NM cable, which is typically going to be that solid gauge, and then also 12 and 14 is typically what you're going to run into in residential. It does have a little slit right here, a little knife. That's what slits the sheathing on both these cables. And again, I'm going to show you these here in a minute. You're able to also, once you get done, you can pull that sheathing up and cut it off right here. And then the other feature it said was the loop feature. You can see a hole somewhere, yeah, right here. So it says loop right there, and I'll show you that as well. So again, that's all the features on it. Not a lot to talk about with it. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of jump down up here close. I'll show it to you on some 14 and some 12 gauge, and again, hopefully it helps you make the decision if this is the right tool for you. So as I mentioned, this is for NM cable, or what we call Romex cable. It's also really meant for 12.2 and 14.2 according to them, but I've got some 14.3 here I'll show you on as well. But to go through the whole process, you're going to start out by slitting. So you've got this riving looking knife type thing right here. If you look down through there, you can kind of see it. Also, it kind of looks like a shark fin, I guess, sticking up. So if I take my 14.2, you just want to make sure you put the wire in on the same side where the sheathing is going to catch on that. You get it started, slides it right through. Does pretty easy. You kind of got to keep a little bit of pressure on it to keep it on there. You can see on the back side here, it's got that slit. So the next step is to tear. You can probably see the blade right down in there. So if we take our sheathing now, pull it back through this little gap, pull it all the way down, get it down to there, it then tears off, and then you're just going to pull it off your wire. You do have to be careful in this step, I noticed. I'll go ahead and tear this paper off too. You want to kind of make sure your wire is pulled up this way. If it's kind of straight or even tucked backwards as you pull your wire, sometimes it might catch and hang up inside the stripper. So kind of make sure it's out like that. Pull your wire off. You can see here that the slit does go a little bit farther down than the tear. Also, the tear is just not 100%, you know, clean. So I will say up front, if you are OCD about what this looks like in your end product, this is definitely not going to be the tool for you. It's not going to cut near as clean as maybe some of the other stuff that you use. Next up, we're going to get into the stripping. You can kind of see that this stripper right here, I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's see if it's a little bit shallower as you get closer to the orange, a little bit wider for the different gauges. So again, you're just going to take your wire, 14 solid is this farthest one. You're going to press it down in there. I didn't get very much down in there, and pull it off. So let me get a whole lot more up in there. So pushing it down into the 14 gauge, pulling up, you can see it strips the wire off. Again, let me take the white wire, maybe you can see that better. Pushing it down all the way into the 14 gauge area, pulling that up, strips it off. Not a lot of bad nicking or anything going on right there. Now in this situation, if I wanted to make a loop, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll just make a loop on this ground. You have that loop right there. taking, sliding it through, folding it over, pull it out. So there's your loop. That's not too bad. Also, the other feature is, let me get a wire nut out of here, out of my Etsy 3D printed wire nut holder. It does have a section, so I'm running the Ideal Twister Pros. That's typically the wire nuts I use. It has on this end a wire nut holder. These will fit in there. Again, what wire nut you have should fit if it's a wing nut. I don't know if it takes any other ones. It doesn't give any kind of specifics as far as the type of wire nuts that you can put in there. But that slides right down in there. So if I wanted to take these two wires here, and no, I'm not going to pre-twist because this is a video, and also this wire nut will twist these. But I can now take this. It gives me a little bit more grip to twist that wire nut on there. Now, if I wanted to, I could also probably use it to take it off. And you can see that those are twisted up there. So pretty much everything in your process, you got your 5-in-1, you've got the slit, then the trim, and then you also have the loop and the strip if you want to. That's 4 and 5. And then you also got the wire nut twister, which is, or that's 3 and 4, and then the wire nut twister is 5. So that's your 5-in-1. So again, this was 14.2. I'll just show you the slitting on the 12.2. It's the same process on the rest of it, but here's some 12.2 NM cable. I've already got a little bit slit right there, so let me cut that off. Take that same exact thing, run that through. Sometimes hard to get it started for some reason. Sometimes I think it goes too deep. You just pull it back out and do it again. Again, press that through. You can see the slit right there. Grab the sheathing off. Run that through, tear that off, pull it out. Same thing here. Again, not very clean right there. Still slits a little bit past it. That's 12.2. Here's some 14.3. Again, it doesn't say that it's recommended on this. We'll take it and slide it. Works just fine. Actually, personally, in my experience, I feel like it does 14.3 better than it does the rest of them. So you can see the slit right here. I can get that off, pull that back, slide that out. Seems like it does better on the round cable because the 14.3 is a little bit more round, but again, still slits a little bit past where it tears. Just take that in consideration, and then your tears are not always going to be, you know, the nicest. It did this one a whole lot better than it typically does the rest of them, because then again, here's the 14.3, there's the 12.3. That one looks pretty gross. And then the 14.2, whatever I did with that, you know, it's right here. It's just not a straight cut. So again, if you are OCD about it, this is definitely not the tool for you. But again, it's not that bad of a tool. Just depends on how much you use it. I feel like, to me, it is really for the guy sitting right next to a panel that's working up his panel. You can take this magnet, set it on and off of the panel, pull it off, trim your sheathing, all those kinds of things. Probably a really good tool for that. Whether or not it's an everyday use case for somebody, only you know the answer to that. But again, there it is, the Klein 5-in-1 NM cable multi-tool L1412, $15 on Amazon. Let me know in the comments below what you think about it. If you've had it and you've been running it for very long, again, I don't know exactly how new it is. Let us know your experience with it in the comments below. As always, though, I hope this video was helpful in some way. You guys stay safe, have a blessed day, and I'll see you on the next video.